Let's get some players we love. Usually we do one. I was like, you know what? Why don't we give some more names just at the top of the show? Players we're excited about this week. And it's going to be sort of on a sliding scale, I think. Jamey's not going to say that these guys are absolute must starts, but Jamey, give me 3 players that you are feeling this week.
I'll start with the start of the week. That's Geno Smith. So expecting a big game for him taking on the Bears. He's coming off an amazing performance fantasy-wise against the Commanders with 289 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And we've seen 2 of 3 quarterbacks absolutely light up this defense in different ways. J.J. McCarthy from really a quarter perspective, but also using his legs. Jared Goff beat them up for 5 touchdowns. I think, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I think if CeeDee Lamb was healthy, that Dak Prescott would have had a better game from his perspective. So I'm excited for Geno to see how he does. I don't know how many people are going to trust Geno because of Geno, but I would start him over Baker Mayfield, for example. I start him over Jared Goff. I start him over Prescott. Trying to think anybody else of like prominence. I would actually start him over Mahomes personally, but I think there's a big opportunity here for Geno Smith. The other 2 guys would be 2 players I'm expecting to get their breakout performances this week. One would be Matthew Golden, and the other would be TreVeyon Henderson. So we've seen flashes in very small sample sizes. TreVeyon week 1, where he was more involved in the passing game, but I think the 3 fumbles, based on the practice reports, seemingly are going to help him. And then Golden just gets the great opportunity with the matchup against the Cowboys. So I think both rookies will have, not saying much, but their best games to date, but maybe games that we could look back and say this was the start of when they were great.
But for Golden and TreVeyon Henderson, are they in your top 24?
No. So you still have to be a little bit cautious. Both would be flex options, as you see if you're watching on YouTube. Golden would be a starter for me in 3 receiver leagues, so with the potential upside of what can happen. Now, this could easily be Dontavian Wicks or Romeo Doubs having a big game. And I think one of them, if not all 3 of them, could go off this week just based on the matchup. And if the Packers decide that they're going to let Jordan Love throw the ball maybe close to 30 times, they may not have to. But I do think there's a big opportunity for Golden. In the case of TreVeyon, no, he's not ranked in the top 24, but, just in that flex range. It's actually a pretty good week for running backs. Would not surprise me if he's better than some guys who are established, who have established themselves, at least for this season. So he's not far behind, for me at least, this week. DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, David Montgomery. I just don't like the matchups for those guys this week. I'm not going to start Henderson over them yet, but would not surprise me if Henderson's better.
Henderson snap share, 48%. Or sorry, Golden snap share, 48% week 1, 59% week 2, 71% in week 3, where he had 4 catches for 52 yards on 4 targets at Cleveland and kind of went out of bounds, surprisingly, when he might have had an even bigger gain on a deep ball. Heath, give me 3 players you love.
So the first 2 I love. The third one I'm just starting again. I mean, I love him, but I don't necessarily love him this week. I'm still starting him. The first one is Jordan Love. You asked for players I love. How about one named Love? Facing the Dallas Cowboys. The obvious concern is, will he throw more than 30 pass attempts? The great thing is, against the Cowboys, you may not need to throw more than 30 passes. It's been one of the worst, friendliest defenses to almost all positions in fantasy. They're getting a little bit healthier. I don't think that's going to be enough to make them good. I do have Love as a top 6 quarterback this week. We all have him as a top 9 quarterback this week. I think we were talking on Sunday night. We were a little bit concerned. This is the get right game for Jordan Love in the passing game. You may have to go away from him after this, but you can start him this week.
All right. And then Trey Benson tonight.
Listen, it's a bad matchup. And I have downgraded Trey Benson's rushing efficiency, which has been spectacular so far this year. But I still expect him to have enough targets and to do enough against this Seahawks defense that he's a top 15 running back. And I'm still starting Harold Fannin. I understand the sequencing of his targets feels a lot worse than somebody like Mark Andrews or somebody like TJ Hawkinson, because their best game was this week and his best game was week 1. But Mark Andrews did do that against the Lions defense that Harold Fannin's getting ready to face. Vegas has absolutely zero fears about the Browns defense for this Lions offense. They still have, I think, an implied total of 27. So I think we're going to see a lot of pass attempts for the Browns. And Fannin still has a 15% target share on the year. If you're throwing 40 passes a game, that's 6 or 7 targets a game for Fannin. And hopefully he can. He broke a couple tackles in their most recent game. Let's break a couple tackles and get into the end zone.
All right, so you're saying that Vegas doesn't seem to have a lot of fear for the Lions offense against the Browns. And if we transition to, and just to recap, Heath's players to start were Jordan Love, Trey Benson, Harold Fannin,